Today, we're talking about turbo on the new Backfire boards and why many, including myself, were initially wrong about the feature. Let's get into it. Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Today we're discussing the new Backfire boards, and in particular the fact that the turbo feature is now unlimited. And I want to share something with you guys that I have not seen anybody discuss when it relates to the new Backfire boards and the ability to use turbo unlimited. But before we get started with that, I want to give you a little bit of context. The previous generation of Backfire boards did have the turbo button. I actually have the Backfire G3 and it has the turbo button. But the difference is that turbo only lasts for 30 seconds at a time. And when the turbo deactivates, you have to wait about 30 seconds cooling down period before you can reactivate the turbo. This is significantly different from the current generation of Backfire boards, the Backfire G3 and the Backfire G3 Plus, and the fact that when you activate the turbo button, it's actually unlimited now. And what I want to discuss with you guys is something that I have not seen anybody talk about, and why I think that the way Backfire set up the turbo makes a lot of sense. Many people have said, look, if Backfire is going to make the turbo button unlimited, why not just create a third speed mode? It doesn't make sense to have a turbo button. But I want to share why I think the way Backfire set it up makes a lot of sense. So let me give you an example. One of the instances where you would probably really use the turbo button is if you're riding and let's say you see a hill and you turn on the turbo so you can climb the hill quickly. Or another scenario may be you're in the streets with cars or you want to pass someone, you may want to activate the turbo. But oftentimes when I activate the turbo button, after I've climbed that hill or passed whatever I wanted to pass, I like to actually put it back in sport mode, because with the Backfire boards, sport mode still has a very high top speed, upwards of 22-23 miles an hour. So you don't actually need to ride around in turbo button unless that's just something you like to do. But you see, this is the amazing thing about it. When you want to turn off turbo, you simply press the speed mode option and then you drop right down into sport mode. And you see, this is significantly different from a lot of other boards. And let me explain. A lot of other boards, WildGo, Exway, Boosted, the way that you shift in between the different gears is way different. So let me explain. I have an Exway remote in front of me right now to kind of break this down. So with the Exway remote or Exway boards, you have 4 speed modes. Oftentimes when I'm riding, I ride in mode 3 because that's fast enough to get around. But occasionally I do want to bump it up into the 4th mode to get the highest speed out of the board. So just like in that previous situation or scenario, I'll bump it up into 4 and then I'll start to accelerate up the hill. But this is the thing. Once I get to the top of the hill or I pass that car, for whatever reason I turned on the turbo, let's say I want to drop back down into mode 3, I cannot do that. I have to cycle all the way through all of the speed modes to get back to 3. So if I'm in mode 4, I got to go to mode 1, mode 2, then I'm back in mode 3. And you see, there's even some boards, and I believe it's maybe even WildGo or even the boosted boards, you actually have to double and triple press that button to activate the different speed modes. And just imagine that for a minute. You're in the streets or you're in a group ride and you are in mode 4 and now you want to bump it down to, let's say, mode 3 to conserve some battery and things like that. Now you're having to double and triple tap to cycle through all of the speed modes. And as you can see, that could be problematic if you're in a group ride or you're in the middle of the streets, or it's a situation where you might need to just quickly get through the different speed modes. And you see, that's not an issue that you have with the Backfire remote, because if you press the speed button to turn off the turbo, it bumps you right back into sport mode, which is the fastest, the second fastest mode on the board, which is incredibly fast, upwards of like 22-23 miles an hour. And you see, it's so interesting to me that Backfire set it up this way, because I really don't understand why Backfire is not marketing that. Because when you're in a situation where you're actually using your board to commute, or you're in group rides where you actually may need to go back and forth in between the different speed modes, that feature that Backfire has makes a lot of sense. You know, if you're on a trail or something like that, it's probably not, you're probably not going to be changing speeds all the time like that. But definitely in the middle of a group ride, or if you're commuting, you have hills, you're trying to pass cars or bicyclists, you want to be able to have that ability to do that. And I think the way Backfire set it up, it makes a lot of sense for the system to be set up the way it is, without actually turning the turbo into a third speed mode, because then you wouldn't be able to have that feature, and you would be needing to press the button to cycle through all of the different speed modes with some of the other board companies. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I didn't see anybody address that and talk about that with the Backfire boards, and in particular the new ones, with the way they set up the turbo button. So I want to get your opinion. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think of the turbo button, and have you thought about it in that manner when you utilize it. As always, I see at the top because the bottom is too crowded. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. In my next video, man, it's gonna be dope, but then we got some nice giveaways as well. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it.